Hello and welcome to Breakfast for Pancakes. I'm your host, PK Sullivan. This time I'm going a little bit more casual because it's technically after hours. My birthday's coming up and me being me, I have a lot of cooking I need to get done. It's going to be a whole week-long process and I'm going to be filming it for you. I've got everything mapped out day by day, what needs to go on. And so here today on Monday, that's where it all starts. I need to make some simple syrup for use in the cocktails that we're going to be doing. I'm doing a big batch of old fashioned that's going to be in a nice big iced tea jar that people can just pour using the spigot. And then I'm going to have a daiquiri bar set up with a variety of different syrups that people can customize what daiquiri they want to their own specifications. It looks like 450 grams sugar in a semi-rich syrup gets us just under 600 grams. That's fine for my purposes. I need 300 for the big batch of old fashions, and my friend Jay, who is going to be bartending for me at the daiquiri station, has requested 200 mils for the daiquiris. Okay, so that's it for tonight. I will see you tomorrow. All right, next day, it's Tuesday, and first real cooking for the party happened. I made some mac and cheese that will get smoked on Saturday. And then got a nice big double batch of carnitas going in the sous vide. Trying a new recipe with the carnitas. It's much more of a mojo pork sort of thing. High hopes that it'll be good. It smells delicious right now. The reason I wanted to get a new recipe for this is I want to have a saucier carnitas. The grilled cheese is one of my secret weapons, one of my big hits anytime I make it for a large group. This is going to be a baked mac and cheese. It should still be nice and cheesy and creamy, but it'll hold together a little bit because I tempered a couple of eggs and worked those into the sauce. Much like grilled cheese, if you're not using your own custom cheese blend, I don't know why you bother making it from scratch. This is my personal blend of and to finish this off on Saturday, it's going to get a topping of panko breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, and butter. That'll bake up nice and crisp and just add that nice textural contrast. I bottled up the turbinado syrup. Looks phenomenal. It tastes really good. It's kind of like a liquid caramel. Yeah, so this is going to be great in the cocktails. Cannot wait. Quick Wednesday check-in. I spent a lot of time in the kitchen this evening doing a lot of stuff. The carnitas came out of the sous vide. I have that shredded and resting in its liquid. It tastes really nice. It shredded up beautifully. I made 60 cocktail-sized meatballs. The tomato sauce is simmering behind me. I'm about to add my basil and oregano, stir that in, stir in the meatballs, let those simmer for 15-20 minutes just so that they cook fully through, and then that'll get stuffed in the fridge until Saturday. Those are going to be for a little build your own crostini bar. This is the first of my birthday cakes. This is going to be a tres leches take off of the nut-free version of Tarta de Santiago that I made. It's also going to be dairy-free because I have some dairy-free guests who are coming. So the three milks are going to be a coconut cream, oat milk, and soy milk. And to top it, I'm going to be doing a vegan whipped cream using coconut milk. I'm going to let this get stale so that it really soaks up the milks come Saturday, and we'll see how that goes. Going along with the crostini for the meatballs, I have fed the starter so that I can make the bread rolls that I will then slice into crostini. This is getting fed today because tomorrow I'm going to do the sponge phase and I am going to knead it into the dough stage, but then I'm going to let it proof for about a day. I've recently done some experimentation in my grand bread venture where I've given that dough recipe really long rests and I really liked what happened. That was a really cool thing. I'm going to see what happens when I proof this for breadsticks for about a day. This is the halfway point. I'm not even halfway done with the prep cooking. The rest of my week is devoted to my birthday party. I will be cooking, I will be cleaning, and probably listening to an awful lot of metal. All right, that's it for today. I will see you later. All right, Thursday. That was a long day in the kitchen. I had a lot of fun. First thing, I got the chickpeas soaking. These are going to be for the falafel. They've plumped up pretty nicely. Those will be in shape for falafel tomorrow. Then I got the dough all kneaded. I wrapped it up in plastic wrap and stuck it in the fridge. I'm letting that sort of proof in the fridge for about 24 hours. Then I made an absolutely gorgeous strawberry syrup. I improvised a new method for making strawberry syrup, and I absolutely love it. It is by far the best method I have tried, so expect a video on that at some point. After making the strawberry syrup, I discovered I had a bunch of strawberry flesh left over that I didn't want to throw out. I wanted to find something to do. Off the cuff, I sort of improvised. I pureed those with a bit of water and then used some orange juice to make sort of an intentionally loosely set jello, going for something that's a little bit like a jelly or a jam. The reason I did that is so that I can get another layer in my layer cake, have multiple fruits in between the layers. The other fruit, the planned fruit for that, is a lemon curd. First time making that, it went pretty quick. At first it wasn't setting up in the fridge, so I poured it back out, added a couple more egg yolks and a little bit more butter, heated it back up, whisking constantly, and I think it will set up in the fridge this time. It seems much thicker and like it should gel the way it is intended to. I have all of the chicken for the shawarma diced up and seasoned, so those will just get put on skewers and grilled on Saturday. Then I made chicken tortilla soup ready to go. It just needs to be reheated in a crock pot or something on the day of. Warm it up, dish it up, garnish it. There'll be a ton of garnishes for this. Yeah, that's me. That was my long day having fun in the kitchen. I will check in with you tomorrow, which is, the penultimate day. Tomorrow I've got to get the falafel done, another cake baked, and yeah, we'll see where we're at. Okay, end of the week. It's Friday. Tomorrow's the big day, and I got all of my prep cooking done. No glamour shots of the food I cooked today because the kitchen is a bit of a mess and I can't really clean it because there's nowhere to put the dry stuff. So you'll get the nice finished shots in the edit, I'm sure. Today I made falafel, baked the cakes for the layer cake, and made the tortilla strips for the chicken tortilla soup. And I baked all the bread for the crostini. I'm actually kind of mad about that because I did not mean to bake the best loaves of bread I've made so far, but I got a beautiful crumb with wonderful air pockets and really tender, chewy, delicious bread. And I'm just going to be turning it into toast for people. So you win some, you lose some. There is no downside to me making better bread. That's the point of the Grand Bread venture. But yes, definitely that is the best bread I have made so far. And it's just gonna be little toast points. Whatever, but got that all done, got a ton of cleaning. My friend has arrived from Minnesota, so tomorrow I will have some help with setting everything up and getting going. Another friend is coming over to actually cook with me. Should be a great time. I'm expecting about 15 people. And yeah, tomorrow is going to be the real test. It's gonna be a day. We're starting at 9 a.m. and we'll be probably cooking in the kitchen right up until everything starts at 5. Hey folks, it's Monday and here I am with the recap of the party. As you can guess, I didn't get any footage from the actual party. Unfortunately, I was too busy cooking and I actually ran out of time just for the cooking, so filming just wasn't an option. That said, I am super happy with how the party went. People had a great time, that's the most important thing. Second most important thing is the food all turned out good to amazing. Big thank yous, first of all, to my wife for making all of this happen and being a help throughout the whole process, but then to Dave, who was my sous chef for the day, and Dale, who was an extra set of hands around the kitchen. I wouldn't have gotten as close to perfect as I did without them. They made a huge contribution, so big thanks. Okay, let's just go sort of dish by dish. I did run out of time, so appetizers and cocktails started about half an hour late. I'm not real happy with that, but it is what it is. For the cocktails, the batched old fashioned were delicious and a big hit. I had actually frozen up a bunch of 2-inch cube ice cubes throughout the week, so we had the proper ice cubes for them. We garnished them with just orange slices. They were simple, delicious. The daiquiri bar was so good. My friend Jay, thank you. He helped me out at the daiquiri bar. He made 3 of the 5 syrups and the super juice, the lime component of the daiquiris. like lime juice, but more. It is limier than lime juice. Super juice is something you can learn about from the Educated Barfly. I'll have a link to that down in the show notes. Then we had a Demerara syrup for the base original daiquiri. I made a strawberry syrup because I love me a strawberry daiquiri. Jay made a pineapple syrup, a spiced syrup, and a hibiscus syrup. And those three were all phenomenal. I was hesitant when he showed up with the hibiscus syrup because I didn't know how that would play. Turns out that is my favorite. That hibiscus daiquiri is dangerously good. That is an amazing cocktail. I am looking forward to some more of those next weekend. Yeah, oof. Hibiscus daiquiri. Who'd have thought? The falafel. I ran into some technical issues with the falafel because we found out the night before the party that our brand new air conditioner that we just had replaced didn't work. And my plan for the falafel was to reheat them in a 400-degree oven. I'm not going to do that in June without an air conditioner when I have to have people over and then in the kitchen and dining room area. As a last minute pivot, I reheated those on the grill, which worked out pretty well. They didn't get as crispy on the outside and remain as tender on the inside as I would like. Certainly didn't reheat as well as previous batches, but that could be because I overmixed things, making a double batch. Could be part of the grill. The other thing is they turned super black out on the grill. They weren't burnt at all. They were just super black. So I don't know if they just picked up on the smoke and went like charcoal black or what happened, but yeah, that was surprising and interesting, and I could see that being a little off-putting for people. I mean, they were delicious. They broke open and were perfectly green and moist inside. To go with the falafel, we had hummus, made that same day. My friend Dave put that together following my recipe. The hummus was great. He did make a mistake. He used orange juice instead of lemon juice. It turned out fine. Actually, it has an interesting little sweetness and floral character to it when you use orange juice, turns out. So if you want to try mixing up your hummus and going for something just a little different, sumac onions were great. Those were gone by the end of the night, so I think people enjoyed those. The meatballs were on the menu because I've been working on perfecting my meatball recipe and technique. I think I really have hit the way to keep your meatballs perfectly tender and moist and juicy, even if they're being reheated. Expect a video on that in the future. The homemade crostini, all we did was drizzle the bread with some olive oil, stick it in the oven at 350 to dry it out and give it a bit of a crunch. With that, I paired mozzarella, either fresh from the store or smoked that I did back in January, and a minced giardiniera. I wanted it to be crostini and be, you know, that very small amuse-bouche almost sort of thing, and chunky giardiniera just didn't fit that. So drained the oil off, blitzed it in the food processor for a couple of times until I had a nice mince, and away we went. That was phenomenal. I might actually start just doing that because having giardiniera be more of a spread that is less oily is really nice. It gives you all those giardiniera flavors without just soaking your sandwich with oil. The tortilla soup, tasting that again day of, it needed something. It was lacking. It was a little weirdly sour. But working with my sous chef Dave, we figured out that it needed cumin. So I toasted some cumin seeds, ground those up, stirred those in, and wow, did that make a difference. That soup was saved by the addition of the cumin. I was actually considering not putting it out because I was hesitant. That soup is really good with a little bit of cumin. The carnitas were the least good out of everything. They tasted fine. The new recipe I'm working on has great flavor. It's a much more flavorful sauce. I'm really happy with that. The issue is I ran out of time. I didn't pull the carnitas out of the fridge early enough. It needed to sit a little bit, warm up, and that way we would have been able to separate the meat from the liquid, crisp up the meat, rehydrate it. You know, that carnitas method that I showed in my video but we ran out of time. We wound up not being able to do any of the crisping. Instead, we had very flavorful pulled pork. It just didn't have any of the browned, crispy bits that get rehydrated. So it wasn't carnitas. That's on me, that's process. The mojo shrimp was awesome. That process went really great. I marinated the shrimp in their shells, then I skewered them, still in their shells, and grilled them. After they were grilled, quickly shucked them, put them in a chafing dish, and they were kept warm until service. And the shrimp was gone, so I count that as a win. I really liked that, and I will probably be workshopping that a little bit to fine-tune my recipe on that. To go with the tacos, we made a couple of salsas. The first is just a simple straight-up pico de gallo. Basic, simple, straight-up pico de gallo. What's not to love? So I also did a grilled pineapple salsa, and that was really cool. So with just blazing hot fresh batch of coals, I went out and I charred up all of the vegetables and the pineapple, made a charred salsa in the blender. Oh, that was really nice. Word of the wise, if you are making a pineapple salsa, one pineapple makes like 1.5 liters of salsa. So maybe don't use a whole pineapple for one party. The shawarma also got completely eaten, so thumbs up there. That turned out great. It just got skewered and grilled on the day of. To go with the shawarma, we carried forward the hummus and the sumac onions, but I also made a Jerusalem salad to go with it. That was all a big hit. That was all really, really tasty. The yuca con mojo, it was tasty, but we made a couple of errors. We should have tackled that much later in the day rather than trying to reheat it. Also, I didn't communicate that the onion should be chopped rather than sliced, so the texture of the final dish was a little stringy, not what I was looking for. That's on me. Communicate better in the future, and we'll be good. The smoked mac and cheese was probably the most delicious thing I made all day. And it pains me to say that because it's the thing that doesn't fit the theme, but it was really, really good. I did a baked mac and cheese, tempered it with eggs, and I finally really nailed the temper on those eggs. Super good. The sauce did not split. It remained smooth and creamy and just, oh, so good. I was a little worried about it because it ran a little long because I got pulled in a million directions at once, but it picked up a really lovely smoke flavor, and the bottom about 1/4 inch of the mac and cheese just completely turned delicious golden brown. I was worried that it had burned once I first started cutting into it, but no, that is super delicious. And the breadcrumb topping is just absolutely delightful with that smoke flavor. I nailed the mac and cheese. The two cakes. The Tres Leches cake is a gluten-free, nut-free, dairy-free Tres Leches cake. It works, and it is shockingly good for what it is. You hear gluten-free, nut-free, dairy-free Tres Leches. If somebody had that on a menu, I would be suspicious, but it's really good. The layer cake turned into the leaning cake of Pisa, and we had some service issues with it. I was slicing pieces and having to flip them out onto the plate as fast as possible because the half of the cake that I was slicing was just falling over. People ate more than half of that cake, so I count that as a win. It was my first ever layer cake, so I feel that having the leaning cake of Pisa is, you know, a rite of passage. Everyone who makes a layer cake at some point doesn't get it perfectly level and it will fall over. My wife's criticism is that she wanted more cream cheese frosting. You know, that was it. That was dinner. Everything went more or less really smoothly. Once I got going, I was half an hour late, but once I got going, we were rolling pretty smoothly and got everything out. I was actually able this year to separate it out into distinct courses. I had appetizers, soup, main, dessert, and that makes me happy that I was able to actually sort of separate those out, be able to present the dishes all at once, and had a really good time. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next week, which will be an actual recipe and not just sort of this cooking vlog. See you then.